The sun was setting over Mumbai when Priyanka Chopra received the phone call that would change her life. Sitting in her trailer at Dharma Productions Studios, she held the script for her new international series in one hand and her cell phone in the other. The voice on the other end of the line was calm, professional, but it carried the weight of news no one wants to hear. "Ms. Chopra, we need you to come to the office as soon as possible. Your tests have revealed some abnormalities that require immediate attention." Priyanka dropped her phone onto the script. The pages marked with colorful post-its and marginalia felt like they belonged to another life, a life that suddenly seemed far away. She had ignored the signs for months, the constant fatigue, the pounding headaches, the occasional fainting spells that she attributed to the exhaustion of filming on 2 different continents. Just stress, she told herself as she swallowed painkillers between takes. 3 days later, sitting before the oncologist at Kokilaban Hospital in Mumbai, Priyanka heard the words she had dreaded. Rare, aggressive brain tumor, complex location. Prognosis, 6 months, maybe a year with intensive treatment. The actress stood still, her face, trained for years to express emotion on command, now eerily serene. "How long before it affects my ability to work?" was her first question, surprising even the doctor. That night, alone in her Mumbai apartment, Priyanka stared at her reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back at her looked the same as ever, expressive eyes, a smile that had won millions, the poise of someone who had always been able to navigate 2 worlds, Bollywood and Hollywood. But something had fundamentally changed. "How do I tell Nick?" she whispered to herself, thinking of her husband who was on tour with the Jonas Brothers in North America. If you've been following this story this far, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Your thoughts on how Priyanka should handle this situation could provide valuable insights for all of us who face difficult challenges in life. The decision came with the dawn. She wouldn't tell Nick, at least not yet. He was at a crucial point in his career, and she refused to be the reason for his interruption. Priyanka picked up her phone and made the only call that seemed to make sense at the moment, to someone who understood the weight of living in the spotlight while fighting private battles. "Megan? I need to see you. It's urgent." 2 days later, Priyanka landed in London. She had told the production team that she needed a 3-day break for urgent family matters. The director, seeing her pale face, didn't question her. At Heathrow Airport, a discreet driver, sent by Meghan Markle, was waiting for her. "The Duchess is expecting you for tea," he said simply, leading her to a car with tinted windows. Frogmore Cottage had never felt so welcoming as it did on that rainy afternoon. Meghan welcomed Priyanka with a long, wordless hug. Something in the Indian actress's eyes had already conveyed the gravity of the situation. Sitting in the living room, with cups of untouched jasmine tea between them, Priyanka finally let the tears come as she recounted the diagnosis. 6 months is nothing, Priyanka murmured, staring out the window at the raindrops running down the glass like tears. "I have 3 movies to finish, a TV show, commitments to UNICEF. How can I just disappear?" Meghan held her hands tightly. "It's not about disappearing, Pri. It's about how you choose to spend the time you have." The conversation stretched into the evening. Meghan, no stranger to public scrutiny, offered not only comfort but also practical perspective. "I know an expert in Zurich," she said. "He's doing groundbreaking research on cases like yours. He doesn't make headlines because he works quietly with royals and public figures. Let me make some calls." The next morning, over coffee in the garden, Meghan presented Priyanka with an audacious plan. "You need an alibi so you can disappear for a few weeks without arousing suspicion. I'm producing a documentary about influential women in South Asia. We'll announce that you're helping us with research in remote locations with limited communication." Priyanka felt a glimmer of hope for the first time since her diagnosis. "What about Nick?" she asked, guilt evident in her voice. Meghan hesitated. "Eventually, you'll have to tell him. But I understand why you want to protect him now. Maybe we can bring him into the circle of trust once we have more information from the specialist." As Priyanka prepared to leave, her phone rang. It was Nick. Her heart racing, she answered it, forcing joy into her voice. "Hey, honey! How was the show in Chicago?" As they chatted about small talk, Priyanka watched Meghan from across the room, sorting through papers containing information about the clinic in Zurich. Two powerful women, bound together by a friendship that was now blossoming into a conspiracy of hope. "Is something wrong, Pri? You seem different," Nick asked before hanging up. For a moment, Priyanka almost gave in to the urge to tell him everything. Instead, she swallowed the lump in her throat and replied, "Just tired, love. I'm working on something special with Megan. I'll fill you in on the details when we see each other." The lie left a bitter taste, but it was a necessary one. As she bid Megan farewell at the private helipad, Priyanka felt a renewed determination. "As the old Hindi proverb goes, even fate bows before determination," she said, adjusting her sunglasses that hid her eyes red from tears. Megan smiled, squeezing her hand. "Then let's make fate kneel." The helicopter took off, carrying Priyanka not just to the airport but to the first chapter in a battle that would require all of her strength and some unexpected allies. The Zurich clinic looked more like a luxury spa than a medical center. Nestled in the foothills of the Swiss Alps, overlooking a crystal-clear lake, the Hoffman Clinic was known only to a select few of the wealthy. Priyanka was greeted by Dr. Klaus Hoffman, a man in his early 60s with piercing eyes and a soft German accent. "Miss Chopra, Megan told me about your situation. We'll get started right away." The treatment protocol Dr. Hoffman proposed was experimental and intense, a combination of targeted gene therapy, advanced immunotherapy, and minimally invasive procedures to reduce tumor pressure. "I can't promise a cure," he explained candidly, "but we have seen promising results in similar cases. What I can guarantee is time and quality of life." During her first week at the clinic, Priyanka kept up appearances on social media. Her team posted pre-selected photos of her supposedly in remote locations for the documentary with Megan. Meanwhile, she struggled with the side effects of the treatment, intense nausea, extreme fatigue, and occasional memory lapses that terrified her more than any other symptom. "What if I forget my lines? What if I forget Nick's face?" she asked one night, in a moment of vulnerability, to the head nurse, an Indian woman named Lakshmi who had recognized Priyanka immediately but maintained a professional discretion. Lakshmi adjusted the floor and replied wisely, "Some memories are so deep that not even illness can touch them." On the 10th day of treatment, Nick called while Priyanka was in the middle of a particularly difficult session. Seeing his name on the screen, she motioned for Lakshmi to answer. "Mrs. Chopra is in a remote area right now with limited signal," the nurse explained. "She asked me to let you know she'll call you back as soon as possible." The look of gratitude Priyanka gave Lakshmi was both relieved and guilty. That night brought the first serious flare-up. Priyanka woke up disoriented, with shooting pains in her head and blurred vision. Dr. Hoffman was rushed in and, after emergency tests, determined that the tumor was responding to treatment, but aggressively, becoming inflamed before it began to regress. "It's like a storm before the calm," he explained, adjusting her medication. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Nick Jonas was beginning to suspect something wasn't right. Priyanka's messages seemed different, shorter, less personal, sent at odd hours. After one particularly brief conversation, he called her personal assistant, who nervously repeated the story from the documentary. "Is she okay?" Nick asked. "She seems distant." The assistant, who didn't know the truth, could only assure him that yes, she was fine, just busy. In the third week of treatment, Priyanka received a surprise visitor. Meghan Markle arrived at the clinic, bringing not only moral support but also news. "The press has started speculating about her disappearance," she said, pointing to headlines from Indian and American tabloids. "We need a more robust strategy." Together, they devised a plan that included a surprise appearance by Priyanka at a UNICEF charity video conference, carefully filmed to hide any signs of the treatment. The video conference was a success. Priyanka appeared radiant, with flawless makeup applied by Lakshmi, who revealed that she had worked as a makeup artist in Bollywood before becoming a nurse. For 20 minutes, the actress spoke eloquently about children's rights, answered questions, and even joked about being offline to focus on special projects. No one suspected that she was speaking from a hospital room, with medications being administered out of view of the camera. "You should have been an actress," Priyanka joked to Lakshmi after the conference, as the nurse carefully removed her makeup. "I was," Lakshmi replied with an enigmatic smile. "Small roles in Mumbai, long ago. But I discovered I prefer saving real lives to playing fictional characters." That night, the two women talked late into the night, sharing Bollywood stories and broken dreams. The next day, the results of the new scans brought the first good news. The tumor had stopped growing and showed signs of shrinking around its edges. "It's not a complete victory," Dr. Hoffman warned, "but it's a good sign. Your body is responding to the treatment better than we expected." Priyanka celebrated the news by crying silently in her room, allowing herself, for the first time, a glimmer of hope. But the hope came with an unexpected complication. While browsing the internet on her tablet, Priyanka saw a news story that chilled her blood. Nick had abruptly cancelled 3 shows on his tour and was flying to London, ostensibly to meet her. "He knows," she whispered to Megan during an emergency video call. Somehow he found out. Megan acted quickly. "I'll intercept him in London. I'll tell him you're on a classified mission with Harry and me in a remote area of Africa, working with refugees. It will give us a few days to decide how to proceed." Priyanka nodded, grateful for the quick resolution but increasingly aware that her web of lies was becoming untenable. While Megan was dealing with Nick in London, Priyanka was faced with a crucial decision. Dr. Hoffman proposed a risky procedure, a minimally invasive surgery to remove part of the tumor that was responding well to treatment. "There are risks," he explained seriously. "But there is also the possibility that we could significantly extend her life expectancy if it is successful." The night before her scheduled surgery, Priyanka sat by her bedroom window, watching the lights of Zurich in the distance. In her hands was her phone, with Nick's photo on the screen. With trembling fingers, she typed a message. "Honey, when you get this, I'll be in surgery. Forgive me for not telling you sooner. I wanted to protect you, but I realized that our love deserves more than protection, it deserves truth. I'll explain everything to you when I wake up. If I wake up." She stared at the message for long minutes, her finger hovering over the send button, before finally making her decision. Priyanka didn't send the message. Instead, she saved it as a draft and put her phone away. "Not yet," she whispered to herself. If the surgery was successful, there would be time for truths. If not, well, then Nick would be spared early grief. With that resolution, she took her pre-surgery sedatives and fell asleep, dreaming of filming in Mumbai and Bollywood dancing under colorful lights. The surgery took 7 hours. Dr. Hoffman, assisted by an elite team of neurosurgeons, worked with microscopic precision to remove the accessible portion of the tumor without damaging healthy brain tissue. In the waiting room, Lakshmi stayed beyond her shift, reciting Sanskrit mantras that her grandmother had taught her for protection. "It's not very scientific," she admitted when a colleague questioned, "but right now Priyanka needs all the help she can get, earthly or divine." Meanwhile, back in London, Megan faced an increasingly suspicious Nick Jonas. "Something's not right," he insisted over a tense tea at Frogmore Cottage. "I know my wife. She wouldn't stay incommunicado for this long, not even for the most important cause." Megan maintained her composure, but the pressure was evident. "Nick, trust me when I say Priyanka is safe. Some missions require absolute discretion." Harry, who had entered the room at that moment, sensed the tension and intervened with an unexpected strategy. "Jonas, can I speak to you in private?" In the office, out of Megan's hearing, the prince did something surprising. He told a half-truth. "Priyanka is not in Africa. She is receiving specialist treatment for a condition that she has preferred to keep private. I cannot say more than that without breaking her trust." Back in Zurich, Priyanka was slowly waking up from the anesthesia. Her first sensation was confusion, followed by paralyzing fear as she realized she couldn't remember her own name. Panic set in until Lakshmi appeared in her field of vision, holding her hand. "Priyanka Chopra Jonas," the nurse said calmly. "Actress, philanthropist, wife of Nick Jonas. You've just had a successful surgery. Temporary amnesia is normal." Gradually, the memories returned, first in disjointed fragments, then in more coherent sequences. Dr. Hoffman explained that the surgery had been a success beyond expectations. "We were able to remove 60% of the tumor, much more than expected. The remaining areas are the most responsive to the treatment we will continue. I don't want to create false hope, but this significantly changes your prognosis." That night, as Priyanka slept on mild sedatives, her phone rang. It was Nick, calling from a private jet en route to Zurich. Harry had given her the directions to the clinic. Lakshmi answered, briefly explained the situation, and promised that Priyanka would be awake when he arrived. Hanging up, the nurse looked down at her sleeping patient. "Your husband is on his way," she said softly. "I think it's time for the truth." Their reunion was intense and private. Nick arrived at the clinic at dawn, his eyes red as if he hadn't slept in days. When he entered Priyanka's room, he found her sitting on the bed, pale but alert, her hair carefully arranged by Lakshmi. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. "Why?" was the only word he could manage, his voice choked with both relief and hurt. "Because I love you too much to watch you suffer," she answered simply. "Because I wanted to face this alone before I put this burden on you. Because..." Her voice trailed off. "Because I was afraid that if I told you, it would make it all too real." The tears they had both been holding back finally came, and Nick crossed the room in 3 strides to hug her, careful of the tubes and monitors. In the days that followed, Nick never left Priyanka's side. He canceled the rest of the tour, ignoring protests from his managers and frenzied media speculation. "My wife needs me," was his only public explanation. At the clinic, he became part of the unofficial team, learning about the treatment, memorizing medication schedules, even helping Lakshmi coax Priyanka to eat when she lost her appetite. A week after the surgery, Dr. Hoffman called the couple for a meeting. The post-operative results were promising, but he wanted to propose something bold. "There is an experimental treatment being developed in Mumbai," he explained. "A combination of traditional Ayurvedic medicine and cutting-edge biotechnology. Normally I would be skeptical, but the preliminary results in cases like yours are remarkable." The mention of Mumbai sparked something in Priyanka's eyes. "Come home?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. Nick squeezed her hand, understanding the meaning of her words. For Priyanka, despite her global career, Mumbai would always be the home of her heart. "Could we continue treatment there?" Nick asked. Dr. Hoffman nodded cautiously. "With proper supervision and regular follow-up visits, yes." The decision was made quickly. Within 48 hours, an elaborate plan was drawn up. Priyanka would be discreetly transferred to a treatment center in Mumbai, where she would continue therapy under the supervision of local specialists in constant communication with Dr. Hoffman. The official story to the press would be that she was returning to India for a special film project that required complete cultural immersion. The day before she was to leave, Lakshmi came into Priyanka's room with a small package. "A gift," she said shyly. Inside was a silver bracelet engraved with ancient symbols. "It belonged to my grandmother, who was a healer in our village. She said it carries the healing energy of 1,000 moons. Scientific or not, it can't hurt to try, right?" Priyanka hugged the nurse for a long time, words failing to express her gratitude. The private flight to Mumbai took off at dawn. Along with Priyanka and Nick, there was a small medical team led by Dr. Hoffman's assistant. As they flew over the Alps, Priyanka looked out the window at the sunrise, painting the mountains pink and gold. "You know what's funny?" she said to Nick, who was holding her hand. "I've spent my whole life playing characters who face impossible challenges and always come out on top in the end. Maybe it's time for me to be in my own Bollywood movie, complete with a plot twist and a happy ending." Mumbai greeted Priyanka with its familiar, comforting chaos, the honking of horns, the scent of spices in the air, the humid heat that embraced her like an old friend. To avoid media attention, the jet landed at a private airport on the outskirts of the city, where a discreet convoy awaited them. "Welcome back, Desi girl," Nick whispered in her ear, using the affectionate nickname Indian fans had given her years ago, making her smile genuinely for the first time in weeks. The Ayurvedic Center for Advanced Research was housed in a restored palace on the outskirts of Mumbai. From the outside, it looked like a luxurious retreat. Inside, it housed state-of-the-art laboratories where scientists in white lab coats worked side by side with Ayurvedic masters in traditional robes. Dr. Amrita Varma, a Harvard-trained neuroscientist who had abandoned a promising career in the United States to return to India and found the center, personally welcomed Priyanka. "Our treatment combines the best of both worlds," Dr. Varma explained as he gave the couple a tour of the facility. "We use cutting-edge technology to identify exactly how the tumor is affecting your brain, and then we apply molecularly tailored Ayurvedic treatments to complement the conventional therapy you're already receiving." Priyanka and Nick exchanged hopeful glances. This holistic approach resonated with them both in a way that purely Western treatment had not. The treatment regimen was rigorous and multifaceted. In the mornings, Priyanka received infusions of medicinal herbs developed from rare herbs grown in the center's own gardens. In the afternoons, she underwent guided meditation sessions specifically designed to stimulate brain regions affected by the tumor. At night, essential oil treatments and therapeutic massages helped her body process the toxins released by the shrinking tumor. If you're following along on this healing journey, know that your positive energy makes a difference. Many believe in the power of collective intention, and every hopeful thought you send can contribute to the recovery of someone facing similar challenges in real life. 2 weeks into the treatment, something unexpected happened during a guided meditation session. Priyanka, who had been following instructions to visualize healing light surrounding the tumor, suddenly found herself mentally transported to a Bollywood film set from 20 years ago, her first movie, where she, young and inexperienced, had repeatedly forgotten her lines. The memory was so vivid that she could feel the weight of the costumes, the heat of the spotlights, the nervousness in her stomach. "What happened?" Dr. Varma asked when Priyanka recounted her experience. The doctor smiled, intrigued. "Fascinating. It seems that the treatment is stimulating neural connections in areas close to the tumor. Old memories are being accessed as part of the healing process. It's a very positive sign. Your brain is finding alternative pathways around the damaged areas." Over the next few days, more memories came flooding back, some familiar, some long forgotten. Priyanka began keeping a journal, recording each memory she recovered. "It's like watching a documentary about my own life," she told Nick, "with footage I didn't even know existed in the archives." He encouraged her to turn those memories into something creative, perhaps a book or a screenplay in the future. Meanwhile, Priyanka's prolonged absence from the public eye was starting to generate more intense speculation. Tabloids published increasingly absurd theories, from a secret pregnancy to marital problems to even plastic surgery gone wrong. Nick, who appeared in public occasionally to keep up appearances, would only say that Priyanka was immersed in a life-changing project and asked for privacy. The real media bombshell, however, came from an unexpected source. A nurse assistant at the center, thrilled to be caring for a celebrity, secretly took a photo of Priyanka during a treatment session and sold it to a tabloid. The image, showing the actress looking noticeably thinner, with a scarf covering her head partially shaved for surgery, was published with the sensational headline, "Bollywood Tragedy, Priyanka Chopra Battled Terminal Illness?" The news spread like wildfire. Within hours, fans had gathered for impromptu vigils in Mumbai, New York, and Los Angeles. Supportive hashtags trended on social media. Bollywood and Hollywood celebrities posted messages of solidarity. Priyanka's phone rang off the hook with calls from worried friends, family, and colleagues. After an emergency meeting with her PR team, Priyanka made a brave decision. Rather than deny or hide, she opted for controlled transparency. An official statement was issued confirming that she was indeed undergoing treatment for a significant health challenge, but that the prognosis was encouraging and she was responding well to innovative treatment. The public's outpouring of support was overwhelming. Letters, gifts, and good luck charms arrived by the hundreds daily. Temples across India held special pujas for her recovery. Fans organized donations for brain tumor research in her name. The outpouring of love and support surprised even Priyanka, who had always known about the public's outpouring of affection, but had never felt it so tangibly. Amidst this turmoil, an unexpected phone call came in. It was from Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, Bollywood legend and Priyanka's former tabloid rival. "I went through something similar 5 years ago," Aishwarya revealed, much to Priyanka's shock. "I kept it a complete secret. But now I realize that maybe I could have helped others if I had been more open. You were braver than I was, Priyanka. And I want to help in any way I can." The conversation with Aishwarya planted a seed in Priyanka's mind. That night, as she watched the lights of Mumbai from her downtown bedroom window, she shared an idea with Nick. "What if we turn this into something bigger than ourselves? A documentary about treatment, covering both Western and Ayurvedic medicine, demystifying the cancer diagnosis, showing the real journey, not just mine, but so many others?" Nick looked at her with admiration. From patient to documentary filmmaker. That's the plot twist I didn't see coming, but it makes perfect sense. 3 months have passed since the start of treatment in Mumbai. What had started as a personal documentary project has turned into a full-fledged production, with a small film crew following not only Priyanka's journey, but also the stories of other patients at the center who have agreed to share their experiences. The actress, now a director, has worked on the days she feels strong enough, with Nick at her side as executive producer. The medical results continued to be promising. The tumor had shrunk by another 30% since surgery, and neurological symptoms had decreased significantly. Dr. Varma, in constant consultation with Dr. Hoffman in Zurich, adjusted the treatment weekly based on the most recent tests. "Your case is rewriting our protocols," she admitted during a session being filmed for the documentary. "The combination of therapies is working better than any of us dared hope." On a particularly warm September morning, Priyanka received a surprise visitor. Meghan Markle arrived at the center accompanied by Prince Harry, bringing not only moral support but also exciting news. "Netflix is interested in your documentary," Meghan revealed during a private lunch in the gardens. "They want to give you a global platform for this story. No editorial input, full creative control." The royal presence at the center did not go unnoticed by the media. Photographs of the couple entering the building quickly circulated, sparking a new wave of speculation. This time, however, Priyanka was prepared. Her communications team released a statement confirming that the Duke and Duchess were visiting as friends and collaborators on the documentary project about innovative approaches to health challenges. As the documentary took shape, Priyanka continued her treatment with renewed determination. Her meditation sessions now triggered not only memories but also creative insights that she immediately incorporated into her script. "It's like my brain is rewiring itself in ways I never imagined possible," she explained to the camera during a particularly emotional interview. "Each new neural pathway seems to bring not only healing but also clarity." Nick, who was initially hesitant to appear in the documentary, finally agreed to share his perspective. In a scene filmed at sunset on the center's rooftop, he spoke candidly about his fear of losing Priyanka, his guilt over not recognizing her symptoms sooner, and the transformation in his own understanding of health and healing. "I grew up believing only in Western medicine," he confessed. "Now I see that healing comes from many sources, some that we can measure in the lab, some that we can only feel in our hearts." 6 months after her initial diagnosis, the time doctors in Mumbai had originally given her life expectancy, Priyanka underwent a full battery of tests. The tension was palpable as she and Nick waited for the results in Dr. Varma's office. When the doctor walked in, her face was unreadable. She placed the images of Priyanka's brain on the light box and stood in silence for what seemed like an eternity. "I can't fully explain this with the science I know," Dr. Varma began, her professional voice wavering slightly. "The main tumor has shrunk by 85% since the start of treatment. The secondary areas that we couldn't operate on, they're just not there anymore." She pointed to specific areas on the scans. "Here and here, where there was clear tumor activity, we now see only healthy, regenerating brain tissue." Nick and Priyanka hugged each other, silent tears streaming down their faces. Dr. Varma continued, now smiling broadly, "I can't say the word cure yet, we need at least a year of clean tests for that. But I can say with medical confidence that you're in advanced remission. The life expectancy we discussed earlier, well, you can throw those numbers out the window." The news of Priyanka's remission was kept private for a few weeks as she emotionally processed the turnaround in her journey. One quiet morning, she asked the camera crew to capture a special moment, her removing the bracelet Lakshmi had given her in Zurich and placing it in a small box. "Not because I don't need it anymore," she explained to the camera, "but because I promised myself that when that day came, I would send it back to Lakshmi with one request, that she pass it on to another patient who needs hope." Priyanka's official return to public life was carefully planned. She chose the Mumbai International Film Festival as her first appearance, where she would present a trailer for the documentary, now titled Beyond the Diagnosis, A Journey of Healing. Anticipation was immense, tickets for the event sold out in minutes, and international press converged on Mumbai in record numbers. On opening night, the auditorium was packed with celebrities, doctors, patients from the center, and fans selected by lottery. When Priyanka took the stage, there was a moment of utter silence before applause erupted. She was radiant, slimmer than before, with her hair shorter and in a sleek new style, but with a presence that seemed to fill the room. Nick, Dr. Varma, and Dr. Hoffman, who had flown in from Zurich especially for the event, joined her on stage. "A year ago, I received news that I believed was a death sentence," Priyanka began, her clear, steady voice echoing through the hushed auditorium. "Today, I stand here not only as a survivor, but as a witness to something extraordinary, the power of integrative medicine, the global community, and the human will to transcend imposed limits." She paused, looking directly into the camera that was broadcasting the event live to millions of viewers around the world. "This documentary is not just my story. It is a call to rethink how we approach illness and healing in our society." The 10-minute trailer that followed showed powerful footage of the journey, from the dark early moments to celebrations of small victories, interviews with Western doctors and Ayurvedic practitioners, moving testimonials from other patients, and intimate moments between Priyanka and Nick that had rarely been shared publicly. When the lights came back up, there wasn't a dry eye in the auditorium. 6 months after the documentary premiered, which broke Netflix viewership records and sparked a global movement for integrative approaches to healing, Priyanka and Nick celebrated with a private ceremony at the same Mumbai temple where they had held part of their wedding years earlier. Surrounded only by their closest family and friends, including Meghan, Harry, Lakshmi, Dr. Hoffman, and Dr. Varma, they renewed their vows in a ceremony that symbolized not only their love but also a new beginning. As a surprise gift to their guests, Priyanka announced the creation of the Chopra Jonas Foundation for Integrative Medicine, dedicated to making combined treatments accessible to patients who could not afford luxury clinics. "This is the real happy ending," she whispered to Nick as they danced beneath the Mumbai stars, "not just for us, but for everyone who comes after us." And as in every good Bollywood film, the camera slowly pulled back, showing the couple dancing amid vibrant colors, celebrating not just survival, but the transformation of a personal tragedy into a legacy of hope for the world.